Oh my God, we're recording. Excuse me, sir. Why don't you tell us who you are?
Name is Daniel Schwarz. I am from Long Island, New York. I've been arm wrestling for now about a little over a year.
Hold on. Stop the podcast. Is it just Daniel Schwarz, or is there more to it?
Oh, I mean, Daniel the Nightmare Schwarz.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, continue.
I mean, I gave you the information you asked, so what else do you want to know?
What team are you on? Which obviously, we know, but
so
and tell us how it evolved.
I am actually a part of and the founder of Primetime Pullers.
Yes.
That actually came from the Strong Island and Grip and Hit crew originally. So backtrack a little bit. About a year ago, I met up with this guy named Chris Burton, who on Facebook, who came over with his table, and we started just messing around. He's showing me a thing or two about arm wrestling, and then after the first day, I was very much intrigued by the sport. And so we started meeting up regularly, and we got more and more people coming with ArmBet and Facebook Messenger, and we started having about 10 to 15 people showing up a week in my garage, and we were the Strong Island's Grip and Hit crew. And then differences of opinions, as always happens in any tight-knit community, occurred.
By that, do you mean drama?
Yeah, BS drama. So Grip and Hit crew kind of separated from myself, and I was still very interested in the arm wrestling world, so I just kept going. And I was told by a couple other people throughout my very early stages of arm wrestling that, start your own thing. You host practices, do your own thing. And I was like, okay. So I came up with Primetime Pullers. Me and my friend Amos Hannickett, who actually built my arm wrestling table.
I've met him.
He is a carpenter by trade and a very strong arm wrestler, and he and I came up with the name of Primetime Pullers together, and we've been hosting practices ever since, every Wednesday night, and it's been an awesome experience because I've gotten to meet a lot of people, had quite a few events that I've helped orchestrate, and some that I've hosted myself. I actually will be having an annual barbecue over here in my backyard. Just I'll kick off the summer with arm wrestling and good food.
Awesome. I missed the last one, so I look forward to the next one.
Well, all are welcome.
Do you have any difficulty training with somebody whose hand is twice as big as yours?
So I have a very small hand, as we can see, according to my face. It's very, very much smaller.
It's good for inappropriate selfies, though. It makes things look bigger. Makes things look bigger in context,
Yes, indeed it does. It does. I do have a challenge though with training with someone with a much larger hand. Amos actually happens to have a hand that's the size of a bear claw, and it's been very helpful to really accelerate my skills at the table and really learn how to maneuver and operate within that type of realm.
Yeah, that's good though, to get practice with guys. If most guys have bigger hands than you, it makes you work harder to keep up.
Absolutely.
Did you know arm wrestling was an organized sport before you actually got involved with it, or has it always been something that you thought, hey, that's just something I did as a kid, like so many of us have?
So my first introduction to arm wrestling actually was back in 2019. I was up at the Renaissance Fair with a couple of buddies of mine, and a friend approached me and said, hey, you're strong for no good reason. Our arm wrestler is a no-show. Do you want to go ahead and stand in his position? And I was like, sure, why not? I'd never done it before. And I really only had done like just basic bar arm wrestling and high school arm wrestling at the cafeteria table, nothing crazy, nothing with any skill or talent or technique involved. It's just, strong arming somebody across the table. And I actually happened to place second place with no formal training, no experience really, at a combat sports table. And I thought it was really fun, but life got ahead of me and work, and I just kind of put that back into the back burner, and then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, I started to gain a shit ton of weight, much like the rest of the world. I gained probably close to, I think, 50, 60 pounds, and was sitting at about 270. And I was not feeling healthy. I wasn't feeling happy. I was in a really bad state of depression, actually. And in trying to teach my son how to ride his bicycle, which was actually hanging right above my head, I could not keep up with him. And after like 5 or 6 attempts, he turned around to me and said, "Don't worry, Dad. We'll do this when you're feeling better." Mind you, my kid is 7 now. He was 6 at the time. And when your 6-year-old approaches you and telling you, "We'll do this when you're feeling better," if that doesn't light a fire under your ass to kind of be a better version of yourself, I don't know what else was, for me at least. And it inspired me to just to get in shape and lose weight. But I didn't just want to be skinny. I actually want to be strong too. So I remembered how well I did with the arm wrestling, and I did a little research and connected with Chris Burton, and kind of set me on that pathway to where I am today.
Actually, age 6 isn't that bad. Ryan's daughter's telling him that at age 1.
Yeah.
First words?
She's outrunning me, and her first word was fatty.
Does she ever get mixed up with who she should be feeding from?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she latches right onto me. Oh man, good thing my wife doesn't watch our podcast. I mean, that's cool to hear that motivated you to lose weight, and that you actually did it.
Now with your buddy, is he doing your programming for you, or how did he get involved? That last guy you just mentioned, the name escapes me.
Chris. He pretty much gave me the very solid fundamentals and the basics of arm wrestling, and has taught me pretty much everything that is the core of my technique and my style. He really has given me a lot to learn from with body mechanics and pretty much proper technique. And he has been my #1 supporter from the very beginning to evolve me to where I am today.
And what is your core and your style?
I'd say a top roll, defensive top roll for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Now, why defensive? Is it because of where you're at your level and stuff like that, or is there a different reason you just prefer it?
Lack of
It's
speed.
something that comes naturally to me. It's something that I was originally told that, "Oh, you would be a great hooker." And when I was hooking, I was just uncomfortable, unnatural, didn't feel right. I felt so disoriented when I had broken center of the table and I was just not able to do anything. I was like, what do I do from here? And my body just wasn't, the mind-body connection just wasn't there. And so he actually sat down and showed me a couple of moves of top rolling, and I said, wow, that feels much more natural. And he goes, then stick with it. And so I did, and I just kind of, I know the one-trick pony concept doesn't always work out for many arm wrestlers, but it is working for me. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
And it's my understanding that your profession actually also allows you, or has allowed you to, your knowledge of body mechanics, I should put it that way, has informed your training as well. You want to talk about that?
Absolutely. I'm a licensed massage therapist of 10 years, and it really has given me a very strong understanding of what's required with body mechanics and maintaining very specific angles within my arms and using my short levers against somebody who would have a much longer lever than myself, and pretty much trying to get as many advantage points at the setup to give the best possible outcome for myself. That's part one. And part two, it's given me a lot of uncanny hand strength and the ability to really have strong hand control. My wrist still needs to catch up to that, but I do feel fairly confident in my hand strength.
From the happy endings?
No, strictly professional.
Yeah, you're not getting
So-
too much wrist flexion, I won't think, from a hand handing, but probably strict, just
Some-
straight up neutral wrist.
Yeah, some back pressure,
Well, I
some
would've-
rise, some chop. It's like rise, chop, rise, chop.
On a more serious note, do you think there was anything else in your background that has helped? Have you been a powerlifter or anything else other than a massage therapist that you think would help with arm wrestling?
To be honest with you, I didn't do anything in the gym since high school. And in high school, I was involved in as a wrestler and a football player and did track and field. But I was so far removed from those sports as an adult that I really think I started with a clean canvas in that regard.
As a massage therapist, I mean, we talked about how it informs you, with body mechanics, but what could a massage therapist do for an arm wrestler who is experiencing perhaps the initial, pain that a lot of people do, or even, something later on to, improve their physical conditioning?
Well, for myself, one of the number one things that I do pre-tournament and post-tournaments and pre a heavy practice and post a heavy practice is I get massages. I get massages with stretch, an emphasis on stretching, as well as I incorporate a lot of a percussive gun, like a Theragun, in my treatments with cupping as well, which just helps increase the overall blood flow to the specific joints that are really hurting bad. After the first 2 or 3 months of arm wrestling, for the most part, everybody experiences what they call toothache pain, and it's really just tendon pain, and it hurts because there's really no blood flow to those areas. When you get an injury in your muscle, you can recover fairly quickly because there's a large amount of blood supply to that area. Whereas a tendon, it doesn't have as much blood supply, so it inherently heals much slower. So in order to expedite that process, massaging and incorporating different ranges of motion and different modalities of massage therapy really does help accelerate the healing process and strengthens the joint areas.
Sounds legit.
When do you, I gather you do have a regular practice at your place. You want, at least in general terms, tell people, when and, roughly where, that if, one of our listeners is, one of those, as Ryan says, the 3 people that are going to pay attention to this happen to be within, commuting distance of, Suffolk County, they can, get in touch with.
So my practices are on Wednesday nights at 7:30 in Deer Park, New York. They're right in my garage. Occasionally in inclement weather, I go to a local restaurant nearby, but I always post any updates in that regard on my Primetime Pullers page, which also I utilize LI arm wrestling practices, as well as a means to communicate when and where practices are going to be and when and where tournaments or other events that I am participating in.
I gather, though, you are usually Wednesday evenings?
Yeah, Wednesday evenings at 7:30.
Great.
What's your tournament history been like? Like, where'd you start? What weight class? Like, give us a little rundown of the road so far.
So my very first tournament was in Pittston, Pennsylvania, last October, actually almost a full year ago. And I competed at the 210 weight class, weighing in about 215 at that time. And I failed miserably. I was out within seconds. I feel like I just didn't right and left, didn't place, didn't win anything. But it was a great experience. I got to meet a lot of people, got to connect with people. As somebody who, through my massage therapy career, made a very strong business and strong connections with people by way of networking and promoting what I found to be beneficial to each individual, I just applied that skill set to coming into arm wrestling, and I connected with a large group of people fairly quickly. And there were awesome people. Like Lynn was super gracious about just talking to me and educating me and giving me any little tidbits of information. So that kind of
You're that guy.
spiraled into the first 6 months of me losing tournaments left and right. Every tournament that I went to for the first 6 months, I was losing. I didn't gain any wins under my belt.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until actually Ryan's and the 98% first tournament that I placed first place.
You know why?
Not
Because
placed
we
thing.
make winners.
You do encourage a lot of growth and a lot
Just
of
not me. We make
progress.
winners, just everybody else but me.
And me.
But and
But
Dave
yeah,
Shell.
I was able to place first in both right and left. To my surprise, I was floored by it. And it was fairly deep classes too. I think we had about 6 to 7 people in each class that I was competing at. And I tried my hat at the open class as well. Didn't do so well. So I kind of said, let me focus on the amateurs for a little while before I go back to the open classes. And every tournament I've been to since then, I've placed, whether it be first to third, right and left. And I did fairly well to the point where I did 3 full sweeps of right-handed amateur 176 weight class. And I pretty much transitioned to pro after 3 full sweeps. And haven't turned back since.
No, it's cool that it was happening at a 98% tournament, because one of the draws to the 98% is it's kind of catered not only just to the pros, but to the everymans, because some events people might be like, oh, that pro is coming, why would I even bother?
Yeah.
But at say 98%, it's hey, it's the whole community, and then you're not only punching up, but grinding against guys that are at about your level, lower, higher.
Yeah.
Everybody's competing, so it's iron strikes iron. I mean, that's thrown around in the community so much, but truly, if it's iron not against diamond the whole time, when you're just facing pros and elites left and right, because that's the only game in town, but you're actually able to go against guys your level, maybe your strength, but different technique or something. But it's always cool to have that, and then you actually feel like you accomplished something, and there's growth there instead of, oh, did I get slow the big guy down this time around? Did I slow him down a little bit more? It's like, no, I actually competed instead of I was never in the fight.
How'd you just out of curiosity, how'd you even get involved or hear about 98%?
So I believe I connected with somebody. I want to say it was Jacob
Bevel?
Well, I connected with him, I think, at first, and I got thrown into a chat. He invited me in, and I started just getting into this online chat out of nowhere and connecting with each individual person. And while I was a little bit of I still am a very strange individual online, I felt like a sense of belonging, and I really thought that it was an awesome community to be a part of. So I was much more intrigued each and every day that I was invited to a chat or invited to a conversation, and just wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. And the 98% really has allowed for that to happen for me.
It's remarkable that you're still part of it, since some of those chats really are, if you coin the phrase, nightmares.
Troll chats.
But, oh Lord,
It's all trolls.
Yeah.
Dan knows very well that it's all trolls.
Yep.
Dan's been trolled in them quite harshly. Yeah. But you're still around there. You stuck it in there though. You stuck in there and dealt with it, and you got past it, and now I feel like you don't get trolled as much.
Well, perseverance is definitely key to any success in life.
Yeah. Now, Josh,
is there anyone around your weight class that you're gunning for? Anyone that you see as a benchmark, or not at all? What are you looking at?
So about this time next year, I am hopeful that I will be at a level that I can take on the likes of Steve Black.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think that he is somebody who I really need to set myself up to take on, and I think by this time next year I'll be ready.
Does Steve know this?
I've expressed a couple of things and poked him a couple of times with it in fun. I don't know if he knows how serious I am about it, but
I'm gonna message him right now.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll see this and
Get him on.
you know, I don't think I'm in any way or form ready for him yet, but I do believe that a year of solid preparation that I'll be able to overcome him and overtake his, the roles that he's put forth and the success that he's put forth. I mean, the man's got 30 years of experience. I can't ever replicate that. Not until I'm 30 years into the sport, but you know, I definitely want to use him as my benchmark for now.
He won't find out. We only have 4 followers and I'm 3 of them. So you're all set.
Are you looking to super match him or find him in a tournament and hunt him out down through blistering right
down through a tournament
weight class?
I like the super match concept from time to time, but by that time I really do think hunting him into a tournament would be a little bit better and better received, because we'll be both pretty much dead dog tired, because I could see myself being in the final bracket with him.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's where it matters. That's where the win really matters.
What weight class would that be? Is that 185?
So right now I believe he is at a heavier weight class than I am. So it would pretty much be depending on where he's at that time and I'm at that time, but somewhere in between the 176 to the 185 weight class, somewhere in that range.
Well, how about you take out Steve Black and I'll take out Mike Bismuth? No, Mike would smash me. But
yeah, Mike's got an uncanny left. Right-handed, you might have a chance.
Yeah.
But left,
no, probably not.
You guys have some killers in your category. I mean, somehow Paul Talbot makes that weight. Have a teammate of mine, Mike Grimaldi, who is light now, and he's at that weight, and he's just you got to catch him somewhere at a tournament to really feel what he's about, because he's I feel a notch above Steve Black. I mean, they've had great wars, and Mike's been able to edge him out and stuff, but I don't know. I'm kind of promoting my teammate over here, but he's really freaking great. And if you ever get a chance to play against him,
bring him to a 98 tournament.
Strap right in.
Make him come down. Make him come to our next tournament.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll try to talk him into it. He's trying to stay really local.
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to ask Dan, by my spreadsheet, there's 6 tournaments in the next 7 weeks. Which ones are you going to show up at?
So the next tournament I'm going to be at is the Virginia State Championships. And then after that, I'm going to be up at the New York State Championships in Utica.
Yes. You'll see Mikey there. That'll be awesome.
Forward to it.
And yeah, you'll definitely see Steve Black there. So get a little litmus test to see what's going to be in store for next year, possibly.
Absolutely. Being that, I've practiced a lot with Steve Black, but I've never we've never had a ready go. And my ready goes I feel like I've elevated them to another level. I know I have a lot more room to grow with them, but I think my ready goes that's gonna be one of my bread and butters.
Yeah. That's good.
Decent.
Yeah. So you let's talk about your fitness challenge, the dad bod thing. Let's promote that.
Yeah, sure. For shits and giggles, I saw this ad on Facebook for a dad bod challenge, and I went ahead and threw up a couple of pictures, and they approved of me, and they said, "Hey, yeah, you're welcome in." And so now they've gone through 4 cuttings. Yeah, 4 different cuttings. I am now a member of the top 10 in my group. In 2 days, or a day and a half rather from now, we're gonna have a cutting down to the top 5, and then it's gonna be the top 1 of each group, and then I'm gonna go against each of the groups.
Are you top 1 in your group right now?
Yes, I am.
That's why here's what I'm thinking is, if you're already winning your group, let's not make people vote yet. Let's wait till you need the votes in the final. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Then we'll promote it. Because if you're already winning, let's just let you win, unless like someone starts to catch up to you or something. But if they don't,
always knowing that until I get bumped out of the first place, but I'm still in the first place at this point.
gotcha.
So the greatest thing about it is right now they're accepting daily votes from everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm not posting a lot of it right now because it's
Right.
not, I don't want to spam anybody on this.
Yeah.
I just appreciate the opportunity to do this because what's even better than anything else is I get $25,000 check. And
Yeah.
if when I do
And he
win,
committed 75% of it to the 98%.
not 75,
98%. Sorry, 98% of it. 98%.
I will have a portion. I do plan on taking a portion of my winnings and putting it back into the arm wrestling community, specifically within the 98%, because I really do owe a lot of my growth, my personal growth and my athletic growth to members of the 98% and members of the organization that have really helped facilitate my growth and teaching me and presenting practices and inviting me to come to things. And I mean, I've gotten a super match a challenge match at the last 98% tournament. And that really did help elevate not just my drive to even get better, but it just elevated me as a arm wrestler, and it elevated me in my family's eyes and in my team's eyes, and the people who I train with. They really do look up to me as somebody who's put forth the work and really become successful for it.
Awesome.
And on one occasion where you were not being trolled yourself, but got somebody else trolled, of course, is when you marched through Paul Italia in your backyard at
Oh, yeah. Do you count that as one of your biggest wins against Paul Italia, not because of his skill level, but because of his status in the sport?
Well, considering the fact that he had at that point received a little bit of training from some of the elite high level pros,
Yeah.
I did count that as a feather in the cap. I mean, he wasn't able to translate and transfer that knowledge set and that skill set that he's learned to my match that I had with him, but it definitely helped boost my ego and give me a little bit more drive to kind of propel me to keep going forward. You know, each and every time that I feel like I hit like a plateau, or I feel like I'm not growing fast enough where I want to be, one of these instances occurs, and then all of a sudden I have this renewed vigor to drive forward and succeed.
I would imagine that it was him losing to you was probably a nightmare for him.
I don't think he's shown up on Long Island, at least not publicly since then.
Right.
No,
you scared him. He doesn't want to go to Long Island ever again.
Oh, Dan, speaking back about let's bring it back to bringing it what's the words to say? Still thinking in my Russian brain. Giving back to the sport. Would you ever put out any content or anything of that nature as far as recovery and rehabilitation of the elbows and stuff like that? Because it's something everybody always has questions about. I guess like everybody would, I'm speaking selfishly right now, like I would try to do almost anything in my power, like the high volume and light reps kind of approach kind of thing. But I've never really dabbled in massage therapy or anything like that. I have like a little Theragun or whatever that just jackhammers my elbows and stuff like that. But I really don't know what I should be doing instead of that, if I should be doing anything else. So what I'm asking is like, if you would have any content that you could put out of any.
Absolutely. I actually strictly use a lot of CBD products, and CBD has been amazing with the anti-inflammatory, especially in the elbows, because I utilize it in my practices for a lot of my patients and clients who suffer from sports-related injuries, motor vehicle accidents, or just overuse of their joints. And that's what we do in arm wrestling, is we overuse our joints to the highest degree. And the best way to rehab them is to reduce inflammation. That's the number one way to get better and stronger and heal faster. And any way you can reduce the inflammation in a natural sense is better than unnatural. So I prefer to use CBD over ibuprofen, because I find that the ibuprofen is bad on the liver. and bad on other organs in the body. Whereas CBD has no detrimental properties unless you have some sort of allergies or anything of that nature. But for the most part, in large part, everyone can benefit from just having either CBD or some sort of anti-inflammatory that is natural, that it works for them, that has worked previously for them. The good old rest, ice, compression, and elevation techniques have always worked wonders for me, especially when I can't fall asleep due to the pain. The minute I put my elbow a little higher than my heart and just rest with a little ice compression sleeve, I'm feeling much better.
Why don't we do an episode of you talking about this?
Sure.
For the podcast.
That sounds like a good idea.
It can be like a happy ending to your pain. No? To your arm wrestling pain.
That's not bad.
Right?
That's not bad to
Throw a
market it
slide
that
happy
way.
ending in there with a massage therapist. It wouldn't be too obvious, but we could do a whole episode. That way you could talk about this more in depth.
Absolutely.
Because we've had on like Regen Options that talked about like PRP injections and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. You know, I know Raheem came on and talked about his ultrasound machine, which he did that on me. Dude, ridiculous.
It's uncanny how
like my shoulder hurt so fucking bad, and he did that ultrasound on it, and all of a sudden I had like more range of motion. It felt better. I mean, I fucked it up the next day and it was right back to square one, but it felt better for a while after him doing it, which I thought was ridiculous.
That's what's most important, you know, feeling better. And
yeah.
that technique, that modality really is effective to reducing inflammation.
The ultrasound?
Ultrasonic waves to vibrate pretty much the inflammation away.
Yeah, and it draws blood towards it. So I thought that was pretty cool that it actually worked, because I was like, this isn't going to work. Come on. Ultrasound, I'm thinking like, you know, ultrasounding a woman's stomach looking at a fucking baby when I hear ultrasound. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there for recovery purposes, and it's endless.
Yeah.
And what works for one person may not work for somebody else. So you got to be willing to go in and try everything wholeheartedly.
Well, that's why there's so much stuff. I feel like we're kind of doing it injustice talking about it here, because I feel like you could have a whole episode of this.
Absolutely.
And we could ask more specific questions about it and maybe get someone else on that is in a similar field and kind of have a whole conversation about like recovery and stuff like that, and see where it goes.
Absolutely. I'm game.
We'll bring Chuck Bardo on, who actually is recovering from a surgery. He can talk about that. No, but I think that would be a good segment. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be fun. I'd be happy to help as well. Anything to help any arm wrestler trying to find their way through this crazy world we live in.
That's very kind of you.
I'm all about giving back to any community that is as inclusive and as celebratory as this one.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like I can't give to the community as an arm wrestler. So my way of giving back is doing stuff like, you know, 98% type stuff, you know. At least right now, anyway. I can't contribute right now to arm wrestling in any way.
Table time will come for you. It's just a matter of what you're doing is equally, if not more valuable to every other arm wrestler who participates, because you're giving them a spotlight that they never had previously. I mean, not for nothing, my first win was a first place win at your tournament when I never won jack shit my entire life. Previously, never won first place, second place, or third ever with any competitive sport that I ever did. So, you know, what you're doing for athletes is huge.
Well, your wife reached out to us and said that you've never won anything, so we rigged it so that you could win and feel better.
Sounds like something Renee would do.
Brian, this is not the first time Brian snuck around behind people's back and asked wives about this, that, or whatever, and
that is true.
Ambushed the, especially you're getting off light.
Yeah, dude, I messaged Paul Lynn's wife, and Paul was like, dude, I don't know how you pulled that off because she does not talk to strangers. And I had never met her, so I'm a stranger, and I asked her to give me some scoop on Paul, like some back, behind the scenes information. Dude, she sent me so much stuff, and then like videos, like embarrassing videos, all kinds of stuff. So when we had Paul on the podcast and I'm bringing up stuff, eventually he was just like, wait, how are you finding out all this stuff? How do you know that? Because it was like personal stuff, like in his house and stuff. And he's like, what the hell? And then I told him that his wife told us. And we did the same thing to Jake Ward. And Jake was like, oh, I'm going to kill her. Because like, we're talking about stuff that only she knows. And he's like, where are you getting all this information? So that's always fun once in a while to do to people. We haven't done it in a while. I don't know why. We should, but
Ryan
it makes it more fun.
Has such a sympathetic face. Anybody would tell him anything.
Yeah. I'm just like, hey, I'm fat and not a danger to anyone. I don't move quick enough. But no, everybody has been really cool and told me whatever, and it's been kind of fun. So, and Paul and Jake were good sports about it and didn't fucking want to kill me for DMing their wives. but yeah. Anyway,
that's one of my favorite things about the sport is finding the people that are they're just very open to opening up.
Yeah,
they really, there is no other sport that I've ever seen or heard of that some of the very high elite level participants of it are more than happy to say, hey, yeah, I'll shoot the shit with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, it helps that you don't look like a threat. I mean, if you look like Lance from Mance or David Chubich, for example,
or Dave Shell,
people might be worried, but
Dave Shell, the serial killer. Well, when I message them, I always make sure that I'm wearing these glasses.
Oh, of course.
And they trust me more.
Well, because you look like a librarian.
Right. Or a pedophile. Anyway, yeah, for Halloween, dude, I'm just going like this. And when people are like, hey, what are you supposed to be? I'm going to be like, pedophile.
James Reed.
Yeah. James Reed.
Not because of the pedophile thing, but because of the glasses and the hat ensemble. James.
Dude, I'm going to wear the same hat. I'm going to wear the same hat as James Reed in these glasses and just fucking say that I'm James Reed for Halloween.
There you go.
And don't forget, Cody.
You have to get a black scorpion shirt.
Yeah, I'll get the scorpion shirt, put it on my wife, and get her a blonde wig, and we'll go as James Reed and Michelle Dugan.
There you go.
That would be funny.
It'd be very entertaining.
Now, Dan, are you one of those crazy tattooed people that gets an arm wrestling tattoo their first year in?
No.
What are you trying to say?
It's ironic you say that. I am getting a tattoo tomorrow, but it's nothing to do with arm wrestling.
Okay.
Does it have a 98% on it?
No.
Might want to inquire
one of the next tattoos will eventually have 98% on it.
Ooh.
What'd you say, Dave?
Might want to inquire what it does have to do with the tattoo.
It is actually a quote from it's a quote from Lord of the Rings. Not all who wander are lost, because I've done a lot of traveling over the last couple of years and did a lot of wandering, but it wasn't because I was lost. It's just because I enjoy the journey.
And you're like a weird little hobbit.
Now, would you ever get a tattoo that says "Live, Laugh, Love"? If we're gonna,
Probably not.
Is that what you have, Dave?
Nah, probably not.
No, I'm just poking you.
Would you consider getting the Unabomber on your hand?
I'm not getting a tattoo of you on my hand.
Oh shit!
Would you consider tattooing a unibrow?
Just connect them. That would actually be pretty funny, dude.
Because I have no brows. Yeah.
If you just connect them.
Yeah, you know what? It would be darker here than these.
Yeah, you would just
I
have
burnt these
a
off when I was
center
younger,
brow.
playing with
You have a little
fireworks.
Hitler stash up here.
That would
When I
not
was
be
younger-
good because he's Jewish. So that would not go over well. That would not go over well.
No, not at all. When I was younger, I was playing with the fireworks and I burnt off my eyebrows
Oh, really?
perfectly to the point where it looks like I've got like a permanent eyebrow job.
So what's Paul Lynn's excuse?
I don't know.
Oh,
Poor Paul Lynn.
I'm
He's
sorry,
a great
Paul.
man.
Paul,
That man, I gotta
Paul.
tell
He's
you,
been so nice
beyond
to me. I
Chris-
haven't said
Paul, I
anything.
do not condone this behavior from these guys. I didn't know they were going to insult you.
Okay, cut this out,
beyond
please.
Chris Burton teaching me what I know in arm wrestling, Paul Lynn has helped really give me the foundations to my style, my technique, and that's why part of the reason why I'm going to the VA championship to support him, because
Yeah.
he really has been integral in my upcoming.
He's going to
wrestling.
win, dude.
Yeah, he's gonna win.
He's going to win. And I'll tell you this, Paul had a big part in us kicking off the 98%.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. He in the beginning he was very supportive. He loved the idea. He's the one who gave us the idea to start a podcast way back when like Warren Raber was on it with me.
Oh yeah.
Paul's the one who kind of got me and Warren put together to start something, some sort of interview / podcast.
Yeah.
And then it just evolved into where we are today. But
That's huge because he was already the big YouTube guy in that area and promoter of Keystone. So he could have just edged you guys out and been like, nah, don't do that.
right.
And then just ran his own thing. And
He's very supportive of anything that helps grow the sport.
But I think he was like, okay, Ryan's never going to be a threat to me on the table. So
Yeah, Paul has been very supportive of me and very helpful to me and encouraging ever since my very first tournament, which I went to with no practice, no preparation, no nothing at all. Was one of his. Actually, it was run by Anthony Letteria, but it was out at the Sons of Italy in suburban Harrisburg, where Paul's people did their tournament.
he's definitely one of the nicest people in the sport. Not
Definitely.
like opposite of James Reed, who's one of the meanest people in the sport.
he's also one of those
I
guys
definitely-
that
I
was a
definitely-
wild one that would compete at every single tournament. I remember when he started, I would just see him in every single arm wrestling TV thing that came out. There's always Paul, and I'm like, who is this guy? He's everywhere,
Right.
and he's doing well all the time.
Yeah. And now he's like a permanent fixture on a lot of these things,
Exactly.
which is great, Plus, anytime we ask him to come on, he comes on, which is amazing because, I mean, obviously he's a busy man, and for him to still give us time if we need it and stuff like that is awesome,
Yeah, especially
So-
now with the football season, because he's very active with the coaching at his former high school.
Yeah. But yeah, he's
I gotta say, meeting a lot of arm wrestlers throughout the last year, I have met a lot of people in my previous roles as a massage therapist and a trainer. I've traveled the nation, opening up spas left and right, and it was my business to meet people. I've never really met the nicest people that I have met in the last year. I really have met
for sure.
Paul and Chris Locko, who,
Yeah.
by the way, he's actually the guy who gave me my name, Nightmare.
Lacko, yeah. I was there when he did it.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
yeah.
I got to witness.
It was Empire Arms' first tournament.
Yeah, I got to witness you getting your nickname.
It was freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, Lacko's a good dude.
He is a good man. Very good man.
Yeah. The cool thing, like Mike Bismuth, Steve Black, James Reed, they could have easily just viewed us as like an enemy, like another promoter or something like that. But instead, they invited us to join like the Northeast Coalition. I've had long conversations with James on the phone about promoting and throwing events, and Steve Black and Mike Bismuth come to our stuff. And they've been supportive, and we've had long talks about different ideas and stuff like that. And like any other sport, someone would have found us as like the enemy and been like, no, this guy's our competition. We're not going to help them. But in this sport, it helps because the more you network, you're like, you know, those guys come to our tournaments, we go to their tournaments, and, you know, it's good for the sport. So there isn't that animosity between promoters as much as, you know, some sports. I mean, there are still some people who fight the grain and try to throw tournaments close to other people's stuff. And it's like, dude, that's not cool. And then they end up getting shunned anyway, because that's not how you should do things. But for the most part, everybody's been real welcoming to us as the 98%.
Well, when you create a movement as inclusive and all encompassing as the 98%, and making it about every arm wrestler's journey, no matter where they are in it, and celebrating them, it's kind of hard to kill that idea. So it's kind of like, if I try to kill this idea, I'm going to be on the back burner, and this guy's going to be become a martyr. So let's work with him instead of against him.
You go back to the troll list. You'd be on the list of all the trolls.
Yep.
Musser would start in on you again.
Exactly.
No, but it's been cool to see you join our community and grow in it. And, you know, I feel like that's kind of what we started this for. So there, you know, and not just you. I mean, there's a lot of guys we've seen like fly up the ranks since we started. Even like at the level of like Roger Bailey, like seeing him progress, and he's been super supportive of 98. You have, you know, there's a few other people. It's just cool to see people progress, and we get to see it, I think, a little more than the average arm wrestler because of the community we created, because we all keep in touch a lot. We come on the Zooms, we're in chats together, we see each other, you know, like I feel like you notice it more with your extended circle than like, I'm not going to notice someone flying up through the ranks that might live in Texas, where hopefully it'll get to that point though, if we keep growing, where we'll just start to know everybody in the community all over the country, you know?
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens.
Creating a community is something that's always been fun for me, but the proper way to do it is proper communication. And you guys have really secured that and maintained that full steam. So you're not even a full year into operation, and you're one of the biggest organizations in the Northeast, if not the biggest, that really has created a very solid following that is not just national, but it's international. So
I tell everyone the reason I think that like this was not an intentional thing. Like we just started the community, and I think starting a community first is what made us successful when we decided to start doing tournaments, because we had a big following going into it. And like our first tournament having, you know, whatever, 87 people show up, everybody that came were like 98%ers already. We all knew each other from coming on the Zoom, from going in some of these troll chats, and from the 98% page. And then we all came together, and it was like you're meeting people for the first time, but you already know them because you've been talking to them on Zoom for months, you know? And that's what I think made it more successful. Like all the little things we do with like Zoom and social media really help.
We were told last evening by Carl DePue, who of course is from California, that we've secretly taken over the whole country without people noticing, which I think is perhaps a slight exaggeration. I mean, we've wormed our way through the Northeast.
It's still fun to hear though.
But
it's like, hey, can you say that again, Kyle? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, we do have outposts, you know, throughout the country, but of course, we're mainly a Northeast organization at the moment.
It is cool though to hear people from other parts of the country that they actually think we're bigger than we are, which is bizarre, but you know, just from what they see on social media and stuff, they think we're like a lot bigger of an organization than we actually are. But
and they've also seen that every time they have their studs come over here, they end up losing to our studs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So send your studs up here and let's see what they can do in the Northeast.
Absolutely.
Although it is an unfair situation because there's a lot of studs up here in a very small area.
We are very, very small, tight-knit community in a very small area. So, you know, we got 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound tuna can. So you're bound to have a lot of talent, especially with the amount of practices and the volume of people we have here.
You know, and depending what weight class you're in, if you can't beat like Paul Lynn or Dave Chafee or Barboza, just don't bother coming up here.
I definitely would like to see more challenges being issued our way and saying, hey, I want to challenge Roger, or I want to challenge Brandon, you know, I want to challenge Ryan, or I want to challenge Dave. You know, somebody who, you know, sits there and sees us and says, I think I could take these guys. And we'll promote the hell out of each and every contender and challenger.
That's the other thing that I think has also catapulted us with like, even like shirt sales, things like that, is when people buy a shirt and send us a picture of them, we blast it everywhere. Like I've had people buy a shirt just because they wanted to be featured on our Instagram. So, and I don't think anybody else until recently was really doing what we're doing with that. And we're going to do the same thing with the NatFit Philly. You know, if someone buys some and sends a picture, you already have, Dan. You know, and I'll blast it all over social media. That way,
you need to re-up.
What's that?
I need to re-up.
Already?
Yep.
God, good Lord. Anyway.
Protein powder like it's candy.
Yeah. But that I think that makes a difference too. Like a lot of people want to be featured, especially arm wrestlers that are on the way up, like Roger Bailey, for instance. Like promoting him and putting pictures of him in the shirt, I think helps him get some of these matches, you know?
Absolutely.
And in turn, he helps us by wearing our shirt going to these matches, you know, and it's like a cool relationship. And, you know, him and Jennifer are super supportive. So, and everyone in our community is super
big
supportive.
match coming up, right? So
yeah,
I think that
Jody Williams.
With Jody Williams, I think he's gonna kick ass. I think Jody is not going to be ready for this one. He's going to be very surprised as to the power he feels with Roger.
The cool thing is, like, it's a straight up, like, top roller versus hooker match, you know, for the most part.
Yeah.
Both of them can go
high level of each in their own regard.
Yeah. Both of them can do the other, but their specialties are hooking and top rolling. So it's going to be interesting to see that matchup instead of like two top rollers that just slip right away. And, you know, but you know, Dan, we appreciate you coming on. Is there anything that you would like to promote or say before wrapping up?
If anybody's interested in a community that's all about the growth of an up and coming athlete, or somebody who's just a little wary about jumping into a sport, contact these guys at 98%, man. You're going to find a really awesome, inclusive, and welcoming community that's going to be pretty much there to support you in every endeavor you make.
Hey, they took me in. And Dan, Dan's part of it now.
Yeah.
Dan's
For
like
the
one of us.
entertainment of the viewer at home, would you please tell us your favorite color and show us the hardware you're working with?
My favorite color is blue.
Oh,
and I gotta say,
ooh, yeah,
crikey.
Looking strong, dude.
Feeling as strong as ever.
That's great. I look forward to gripping up with you next.
Yeah.
Virginia, maybe.
There you go.
After I destroy Gary Roberts, me and you.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, dude, and thanks for your support with the 98 and everything. And you know, I'll put a link to the dad bod thing underneath. And if you make it through this round, we'll amp up the promotion for the next round when it's time for you to actually like win. Because if you're already winning this round, save some of those votes that people might not vote twice. So it's better to save the votes for when you really need them, I think.
Yeah, when I really need them, absolutely.
Yeah. But you know, we'll help you in any way we can, dude.
I appreciate it.
All right.
And I appreciate the 98%.
Thanks.
Who's gonna pull?
And thanks to David and David co-hosting tonight. Very cool.
We got it.
That's it.
Appreciate you guys.
That's it.
Yeah.
You guys all set? I'm going to stop recording.
Sounds good.